There are two facts that loom over the United Nations climate conference that kicks off on November 30th. The globe is careening towards a climate disaster, and governments are moving too slow to combat its effects.
But what is COP28? The COP stands for the Conference of the Parties, and it's a meeting of nations that were signatories to the 1992 United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. By signing that agreement, countries promised to address human interference with the climate system to stabilize levels of greenhouse gas emissions in the atmosphere. The United Nations body convenes those governments once a year to discuss how to address climate change, and this would be the 28th time countries have gathered under the convention.
Diplomats from nearly 200 governments, including many heads of state, will gather in Dubai to draft a plan for the globe to transition away from fossil fuels, which have been dangerously heating the earth.
Now, what are some of the outcomes we hope to see this year? The first will be a global stocktake. It's the first assessment since the Paris Agreement that looks at the world's progress to the agreement, the gaps that exist today, and a way forward.
The next will be the establishment and adoption of rules for the so-called Loss and Damage Fund.
Some of the major questions to be resolved include who pays into the fund, who controls that money, and who is able to get funding.
And finally, there may even be a political agreement to establish a transition away from using these polluting fossil fuels and use renewable sources to make up the energy shortfall, including wind, solar, and even hydroelectric power. 36,000 delegates from different countries are expected to attend, with the COP presidency expecting up to 70,000 people visiting over the 2-week span.
Like COP27, Trinidad and Tobago's delegation will be led by Planning and Development Minister Penelope Beckles, as well as lead climate negotiator Kishan Kumar Singh. The Prime Minister isn't attending, citing conflicting meetings, the length of time he would have to stay in the Middle East, and the cost to the country if he stays in the Middle East for the conference. Kalain Hussain, CNC3 News.